So apparently Riot's got an MMO they announced. I didn't hear about this. And I'm trying to find a video to watch. Oh, the World of Riot's MMO is already done. When I read that title, I thought it meant like, as in like the project's already finished, like it's like dead on arrival kind of thing. How Its World has been finished for years now. Okay, let's talk about Riot's upcoming MMO and How Its World has been finished for years now. By Necrit.
In the past, MMOs were regarded as the godfathers of games. They were the peak of what developers could accomplish. Even though, looking back, that's a fairly subjective thing to say.
What is this?
Everyone knew MMOs had the power to create cult following, but also everyone knew making MMOs was hard.
RuneScape?
On average, an MMO has to spend at least 6 years in the baking before it can get anywhere near being good. But that didn't stop
League hat, Hearthstone shirt. This guy's a
companies
fucking
from jumping onto the
fanboy,
bandwagon
dude.
Anyway. And soon we could see dozens of new MMOs, all releasing in
Warhammer. I didn't know there was a Warhammer one, although I'm not surprised.
WoW killers.
Didn't know there was a
Spoiler
Conan
alert, none of
MMO.
them did that. And unfortunately, we can feel the ripple effects even now. It got to a point where every time a new MMO is announced, we all think the same thing.
Yep.
Oh.
He's so right. Honestly, I still feel the way. It's like, okay, great. Yeah, no, someone else is trying, but like, man.
Anyway, when you're working on an MMO, you have to respect 3 pillars. Gameplay is key.
Okay, I like this. Okay, I feel like this is pretty much true for almost any game you make. The first one, gameplay is king. Like, at least that's how I always look at video games, or at least have since I have not been a child, since not being a child. Is like, I don't care how good the graphics are or the story or whatever, if the gameplay is not, you know, the best part of the game. Like, I can forgive pretty much anything if a game is fucking awesome, if the game itself, if the game is fun. You know what I mean? It's really hard to do the opposite though. Social interactions matter. You know, I will say I don't have a ton of experience in MMOs, so I'm probably not going to be the best critic of these pillars, but, you know, social interactions, yeah, they certainly seem to be a big part of MMO
Social
identity.
interactions matter,
obviously.
and the world setting is important.
Okay.
When Riot announced their MMO, it became clear that 2 of the pillars are being respected. When Riot announced...
Okay, when was this? They announced on December 18th, Greg Street. A recent job has been to develop the League universe, which we're going to need because it's time. My job is to kick off a big game that many writers have been asking us to create. PS for hiring. Is it an MMO? It's an MMO. Okay, so this is, 2020. Jesus Christ, so it's been like a year and a half, actually.
Their MMO, it became clear that 2 of the pillars are being respected, and the 3rd one is already done. When it comes to the gameplay, it is currently in the hands of Ghostcrawler, someone who's been working on WoW during its best times, and someone who got a reputation for hating boomkins and loving mages. Best in play, it is respected.
What's this guy's name?
Announced that
yeah, Greg Street.
One who's been working on WoW during its best times, and
WoW lead systems designer, Greg Street. Okay. Well, the fucking leaking of Blizzard is just gonna make the industry so much better everywhere else, dude. Like, I don't know when this guy left, if it was before or after all the controversy. I'm guessing maybe before it all. But, yeah, it's great to see that, you know, the talent is still going to be used. We're not losing, you know, all that great Blizzard talent that used to be there. Maybe some of it still is. You know, they're just going to be working for other people.
Someone who got a reputation for hating boomkins and loving mages. When it comes to the social interactions, it is a dance between the developers and the players. A dev can guide players towards social interactions, or they can annihilate them. And after that, the players usually find their own fun inside the MMO. Riot can
what is he
guide
saying?
Players towards social interactions. And the players. A dev can guide players towards
social interactions. A dev can guide, right. So he's saying this is a good thing. Your level skills will be restricted to level 60, right? This is like, you know, playing with your lower level friend where it's going to de-level you so you can't just power carry them and you can like play together. Seems like a great system. I didn't play too much with that system in WoW.
Annihilate them.
this is referring to Dungeon Finder, Raid Finder, etc. Particularly Raid Finder, I think, is what he's trying to show here, where, you know, you're removing all of this social networking and really like the required social networking that you normally needed to find a dungeon group or a raid group, which was, you know, laborious and, you know, not perfect. Like, it was hard to find dungeons and raids a lot of the time for a lot of players, but it was important to the game nonetheless.
And after that, the players usually find their own...
And the Dungeon Finder basically fucking ruined it because it just made everyone queue up and no one had to talk to anyone anymore. Because you could just wait in queue and it would auto-match you, you know? It's like really important for WoW anyway. It was really important, at least in a lot of people's opinion, to have to do that yourself, to put together your own group, which is what a cool thing about MMOs, because you can't do that in any other game. You know, in Call of Duty Warzone, if you want a random group for a quads match, it's like there's like some big city you can go run around with your Call of Duty character and go whispering everyone and be like, hey man, you want to go drop in Verdansk with me? Like looking for some people to drop in Verdansk with me. You can't do that. That's one of the awesome things about an MMO, is that you live in a big shared, seamless, you know, real-time world, and you can literally just go find what you're looking for, you know, even if that's actually like other players, like they're right there in front of you.
Fun inside the MMO.
It's like it'd be a shame to, like, you know, not use that, right, in an MMO.
Them. And after that, the players usually find their own fun inside the MMO. From that point on, the devs should do everything in their power to support the players having fun in their own way. And finally, when it comes to the world of an MMO, in Riot's case, it's done. And it's been finished for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
In fact, the world of Riot...
I mean, like, it's not like they're not still working on it. They are still working on it now, I promise you, and they will be working on it indefinitely. You know, it's not a job that's ever really done, like he's saying, but as far as being ready for a launch, it's done, is what he's saying. Like, it's finished enough to launch the game. I mean, obviously they've been building this world for a while. But yeah, I kind of wonder, like, you know, they didn't start off making League of Legends with this in mind, I'm sure, building an MMO, of course, in the future. So there's definitely been, I'm sure, a lot of retrofitting and, you know, retconning and stuff like that. But yeah, I wonder for how long now they've sort of like settled on okay, here's Runeterra, this is what it's like, and like, I guess I want to know a little bit, and I'm curious just really how much retconning has been done. You know, just to get a feel for, like, is this going to be a normal thing? Because, you know, I know Blizzard did a lot of retconning with WoW. A lot of people really don't like that. I don't really like that. And a lot of other, I think, studios retcon as well. Even not in MMOs, just in general. It just seems to be a thing in, like, big, long-running fantasy worlds. But yeah. Like, if there's a lot of retconning in Runeterra's past, you know, one big, like, or like extended wave of retconning, I think, would be excusable and understandable because, like I said, they didn't start off with building an MMO or a big world. They started off trying to make a MOBA, and then, you know, built the world, you know, as they went along. So, you know, they get to retcon a little bit in order to, like, make up for that. But, you know, it would be nice if they can keep the world feeling cohesive over a long time, I guess is really what I'm getting at, you know, and the story and the lore cohesive. Also, I'm really curious, what's going to be how is, like, the context going to work here? Are you going to be a champion that fights in the League of Legends? You know, like, I mean, I'm guessing probably not, but it's like, well, then what are you? What are we doing? You know, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other things to be done in Runeterra, obviously, outside of the actual tournament, the league itself. But this footage is my recreation of the official map using 3D models. Oh, it's his own? That's kind of cool.
Its MMO is in such a good state. They already have the continents, the zones, the cultures, and the races. And to a lesser degree, every zone already has its own storyline. Now, of course, unless you follow the
Noxus,
lore of
right?
League of Legends, you wouldn't know about
He
this.
did this himself. This
And
is really
that's
cool.
why I decided to make this.
Oh, is he making? This is just gonna be like a. This is the world. Oh, I'm so down. I thought this was gonna be more of like a critique or like maybe like a just discussion on like the development of the game or the direction. But if he's just gonna like,
This video.
wow, this is awesome.
I want to show you all the zones we are
He
going
built
to
all
see
this for this
in the
video.
MMO and what sorts of quests we are going to do there.
And then what's underneath?
So, for the purpose of this video,
Oh, man,
I will
I'm so
assume
down.
you
This
have
is so
no
cool.
idea what League of Legends is about.
Let's
you
go.
have no idea what the universe is about, but you like MMOs, your hairline is receding, and you have a crippling fear of Nintendo 64 controllers. To which,
What?
I might add, why do you think I'm wearing hats? But now, without further ado,
Oh, no,
let's have a look
my
at
dude.
all the zones
Oh, man.
in Riot
Self
MMO.
burn.
This is Runeterra, the world of League of Legends. Right now, the world is separated into 10 main regions. But these 10 regions don't cover all the land on the map, so there are some mini-zones in between them. And the lore already revealed that there is gonna be another continent further to the east. That definitely sounds like a future expansion to me. In fact, it would be foolish to release all of these regions at launch. You can easily
true.
turn half of these into separate expansions.
That's a really great point. I kind of agree with him. I mean, it would be awesome to have the whole map. That would be like really exciting on day one, of course, to like have this massive map. But think about it this way. A, like we were just talking about as far as retconning goes, it's better if we don't, the content we already have, meaning this map, right, and all the characters and cities and everything that we already have, the slower we go through it and the more we take our time getting through it, the less likely the writers, the less likely it'll be that the writers will have to, make up some stuff that maybe doesn't fit very well, completely just add in things that didn't exist before and act like they've always been there. Or retcon things, which I feel like this is something that like happened in WoW, like the first few expansions were like things that, were already in the universe, right? Think about it. So obviously vanilla WoW launched and there's nothing retcon because it's vanilla, right? So this is all considered to be canon Warcraft lore, and even maybe some big nerds could tell me that like they changed some things in the MMO that weren't true in the RTSs, which is probably true. But anyhow, think about like, where was I going with this? So the first expansion, Burning Crusade, right? You go to Draenor, which is somewhere that already existed in the lore because that's where the orcs came from. They're not from Azeroth, they're from Draenor. And you fight like the Burning Legion and stuff, which is also already part of the lore because again, that's like how the orcs got to Draenor in the first place. Right? I think, yeah, like through, the Dark Portal or whatever, which was made by the Burning Legion. It was only till later when, like, some of the orcs, I think, broke off from the Burning Legion and kind of became just like, they became like the Horde, for instance. And, but there was already an established hatred between, human and orc and all that. But anyway, yeah. And then the next expansion, Wrath of the Lich King, that was already a thing. Arthas was in Warcraft 3 and that in Northrend and like that whole thing, right? So it's like that's already a thing as well. Then you have the Cataclysm, which again already a thing. Neltharion or Deathwing, right, being like the main bad guy. He was already a character. There obviously was a Black Dragon aspect from the start, so he just wasn't in the game. But yeah, it's like he creates a Cataclysm. The elements are going out of whack. All of the elemental lords of their planes, are all, I don't know, like fucking causing trouble and shit. Which again, those are all things that have like been in the universe, they just weren't in the game, But then you start to run out of content, and it's like, all right, well, let's make Mists of Pandaria. That came out of nowhere, brand new, And then like most recently, like let's make Shadowlands, where no one in the whole history of the game has actually died ever. They all just went to the Shadowlands where there's this brand new, foe that no one's ever heard of before. They had to just make up because you've already destroyed, Sargeras by that point in the game, which is, you know, the like apparent source of all evil in the entire universe and has been there since the very beginning. Like he's considered like basically the devil, I guess you could say, of the Warcraft universe. So it's like, you know, you run out of shit to do and then you're gonna have to make bullshit up, right? So anyway, that's a long way of explaining why, yeah, I agree, they should totally not release everything. They should slow play all of the lore and all the regions and all the story that they already have here. And I think I had a second point too, other than it just being, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, think about it from a development standpoint. The studio only has so much time, right, and so much resources to build so big of a map. If we take up the whole map on launch day vanilla, you know, like, it's, let's say it's X size. Let's say it's like, you know, 1 million square pixels, right, or square feet. Let's say 1 million square feet. What if we just take this bottom continent here and start off the game with just this bottom continent and maybe like Bilgewater and the Shadow Isles, or maybe even less than that, right? Now let's make this 1,000 square feet. Now, it's like, you see what I'm saying? It's like they're going to make the map the same size no matter what, probably. And it's like, if the original map, like the original map I'm saying, so if the original map takes up less of the actual world map, then the world map, once it's all finally all done and fleshed out, will be like so much bigger and better probably than if they tried to do it all at once. If that makes sense.
And because a lot of people already know and love these regions, the hype behind these expansions would be big. With that said, I know a lot of you would like to play as Shurimans or Ionians. And now you may be cursing me for suggesting that these would be expansions.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
The lore can justify giving you these nations as playable races without
having to go there.
Their regions. I'll show you how Riot can pull this off in
I think
bit.
that's easily
First, let's talk about the regions Riot's MMO has to start with. The Northern Continent. This entire continent is called Valoran. Not Valorant, Valoran. And this is where the absolute core of this world is. The two main regions here are Demacia and Noxus. They are the two big rivals.
So this is likely going to be
Horde and
like, yeah, it's like Alliance and Horde, just like he said. We're most likely going to. This is probably the you know, the most set is like, yeah, we're going to be able to play here, and probably be able to play as Demacians or Noxians.
The Alliance. While I would like to say that Demacia is your classic normie human region, it's not really true. Runeterra doesn't really have a normal place. There is something cool happening in every region. And Demacia has racism. Okay, maybe not racism, because Demacia doesn't mind your...
Wow, look at all these,
but they really hate mages.
They hate mages. Also, like... I want to know how this guy figured all this shit out. I'm guessing he's not just throwing all this shit down here randomly, like all these little cities and stuff, and man, makes me want to like look into this myself.
In the past, their rivals almost annihilated half of the world using magic.
Their rivals being Noxians?
A magic-absorbing forest. Therefore, Demacia is a really cool place where you can hide from magic. When it comes to the visuals of the zone, you can see a lot of fields, it is surrounded by mountains, but the iconic part of Demacia are the buildings. They are made of petricite, which is a combination of stone and the magic-absorbing wood. Because these ancient magic-absorbing trees were grey, all the buildings have a marble-like appearance.
Cool.
And yes, given what material they are using, all the buildings in Demacia also absorb
this is
magic.
pumping me up, dude.
So should a mage visit this region, let's just say it's gonna be a painful experience.
It's funny, like, I feel like, you know, when artists, they get really, like, these cities are very cool looking, and they work for movies and film and for art, but it's like, you know, when you're building the city, it's like, if you get this concept art, dude, it's like, all right, so, like, where's the fucking, like, bathroom? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all so fucking, like, designed like a fucking park, like an arc, like a fucking all one big, like, sculpture or something, and it's like, okay, but like, where's the shops? Where do people live? You know, like, where's the auction house gonna be? You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny to me. Like, I feel like sometimes when you look at like these fantasy like cities, you know, it's like, I'm just like, I don't know, where's all the fucking amenities? You know, where's the economy?
Let's not forget that Demacians can weaponize petricite. They can turn it into petricite steel, which gives you your classic
That's
anti-magic
badass.
weapons, and you can sculpt petricite constructs which wake up after absorbing magic. Simply said, these guys just really don't like magic. The irony is, they've been absorbing it for years now. And this is where the story would kick in. You see, the Demacians are so afraid of magic, they founded the Mage Seeker Order. This is an order of people who hunt mages, they throw them into prison, and they torture them until
Oh wow, so I guess this is not surprising, but yeah, there's been plenty of like, it's not like there's never been a book or obviously graphic novel at least. This guy's probably read all these.
their body gives up
I wonder what the rules are on showing these pages.
magic. So yes, being a mage is a crime in Demacia. The thing is, people still get naturally born with magic.
Wonder who this guy
abilities.
is.
You can't stop it
Hey,
from
what up,
happening.
Casey?
So not only are there mages hiding in the royal court, right now there is a mage civil war happening in Demacia, where mages and people who don't hate mages rise up to fight for moral rights. So should we do some quests in this zone? This is gonna be the
Wukong,
first
dude,
one.
hell yeah, dude.
Mage-
It's gonna be so cool, honestly, because like I feel like everyone's lore, if they do this right anyway, is like everyone's gonna get their bit. You know, everyone's favorite champion. So like if you're here for the Wukong lore, hopefully when the game comes out, it's like somewhere in the world, you know, you can like find that Wukong lore backstory, or just like go to his hometown or like whatever, some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Is trying to overthrow racist leadership following old laws. So the main enemy NPCs might be mages and witches. But I know what you're thinking now, and don't worry. There will be plenty of boars to kill here too. Or at least there are loads of wolves here, as well as stags. And we can't forget the iconic Demacian raptors. But further to the south we might find some crag beasts, tiny woolly elephants, and yes, of course in the Argent Mountains there are also dragons.
Dude, I forgot. They already have so many like in League of Legends in the client. They have these things called Little Legends, which is your character that you're playing basically. When you play Teamfight Tactics, you know, like the strategy League of Legends game, and they're basically all the different characters you can play are like different little like cute little baby animals, pretty much. And there's like different colors for all of them, and it's like, yeah, they've like all those little animals and stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm sure we're gonna see those like in the wild, out in the forest and stuff in this game. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
Loads and loads of dragons. But that's about it for Demacia. Fun fact, the capital city of Demacia is called...
Okay, so this makes a little bit more sense now what I was talking about with the city design. Like this center is obviously very much like, you know, cool structures, like you know, like a big central capital area, but like, yeah, the city kind of surrounds it, which is good to see some, you know, population, some fucking residential area and stuff.
The great city of Demacia. Sounds dumb, but Runeterra was not the first one to come up with this. But thankfully the other regions are a bit more creative with their names to come up with this.
Wait, what is this saying? Lordaeron? This is talking about World of Warcraft, I guess, and how they have Lordaeron and then the city of Lordaeron.
But thankfully the other regions are a bit more creative with their names. So
Okay.
now let's move away from the normie region.
That's fine. The normie region's got to have the normie names and everything. It's fine, you know?
Let's
It's
have a
okay.
look at the badass region.
Dude, if you have to pick factions, like, no one's gonna go Demacia. It's just gonna be the same thing as World of Warcraft, dude. It's gonna be like heavily Horde, aka heavily Noxus. Well, I have a feeling they're not gonna make it binary, you know what I mean? Like Alliance, or like Demacia or Noxus, you know? Because the world is just not black and white, you know what I mean? Like, there are these two main factions, but like, there's too much else to this world for, I think, them to pigeonhole everyone into two factions.
If you're
I don't know how
planning
they'll
on
do
playing
it,
a
but
warrior with oversized weapons and overcompensating lush hair, this is
I wonder if there will be
the region for
factions
you.
at all.
This place
There may
actually has
not.
a long and
I
badass
wouldn't really be
history, but
surprised.
we really don't have the time to explain it now. So just know that originally it
They have a
was built
long, badass history. He doesn't have time to explain it.
by
Okay.
the most badass warrior in the history of Runeterra.
Darius?
He literally died on a mountain of corpses. And
he's
after he
bleeping
died,
himself.
he was too angry to stay dead, so he just became the god of the underworld. When this guy lived, he built
That's so sick.
Bastion.
This is
which
Mordekaiser, by the way. I don't think he actually said his name, but like, what a fucking badass. Died on hill of corpses became just so angry that he just didn't die and became Lord of the Underworld. He said, like, is the Underworld out? Not my question is that similar or different to the Shadow Isles? Because he looks got the same kind of colors going on, you know what I mean?
To this day, the largest structure on the entirety of Rune Bastion, out of the Underworld. When this guy lived, he built the Immortal Bastion, which is to this day the largest structure on the entirety of Runeterra. And currently, he is banished underneath the Immortal Bastion, but only a few people know about it. So, you know, that's a future raid.
Currently, he's banished, so he's like, you know what? So, like, that doesn't necessarily make sense with, like, the whole League of Legends lore, because it's like, how is he participating in the League of Legends if he's banished under the biggest fucking structure on the planet? But, again, with the retconning, I'm super down for them to, like, unwrap that a little bit, because, yeah, the whole premise of League of Legends is a bit ridiculous anyway, and if they try to, like, uphold all of that perfectly, I don't know. It's just going to be so limiting. So, yeah, if he's not actually a participant, like, at the moment at least, or whatever, like, in the League of Legends, because you know, he's in this situation, that's totally fine with me. I think they need to, like, yeah, a lot of these characters, champions that are in the game already, they need to, like, not make them just, like, equal combatants in the League of Legends with everyone else, because that's just a bit boring, I guess.
Anyway, the Immortal Bastion is the capital city of the Noxian Empire, with Noxus being one of the
the Immortal Bastion is the name of the city.
It is brutal because the nation is surrounded by rocky earth. It is hard to grow plants here.
So they live in the Syrian Gorge.
Forced into conquering surrounding land for resources to survive. That's why when you go to the map, you can notice that the Noxian territory is all over the place. It's because these are all the places Noxus has already conquered. Although, when I say it like that, you may imagine Noxus brutally raiding everything. But that's not true. They like to absorb the surrounding nations into their empire.
Is that LeBlanc?
It's just more human resources. Most of the time, they only remove the royalty and they let the leader.
Honestly, their like armor and aesthetic is pretty badass.
That's because Noxus values strength above all.
They just look so much cooler, dude. Like the basic armor. If I gotta be Demacian or Noxian, dude, I'm going with the red and with the fucking like more fucking flat steel looking shits, not so fucking shiny and polished, you know? Like, that's just so much cooler.
Rulers tend to not be good fighters.
What is this scene
This
from?
is what you can see in
I feel like I've seen this.
victory cinematic. They killed the king because he was weak and let
Yeah,
everyone else
I have
join
seen
them.
this.
Fun fact, conquering nations is so iconic for Noxus, they have their own saying. Kill them until they are family. So when it comes to the quests in Noxus, it is most likely going to be helping the Empire expand its territory. Although, this region has its own unique enemies too. Inside the Immortal Bastion, there is a cult known as the Black Rose.
A cult.
This cult is connected to the darkest of magics. So be ready to fight Hemomancers, witches, demons, and the Grey Legion, which is an
Wow, dude. Scion.
army of soldiers revived with blood magic to fight for the Empire again. And when it comes to collecting...
Wait, so they're for the Empire or against? I thought this was part of the cult, or were those all... Hold on. Let me go back to this list of...
There is a cult known as the Black Rose. This cult is connected to the darkest of magics. So be ready to fight Hemomancers, witches, demons, and the Grey Legion, which is an army of soldiers revived with blood magic to fight for the Empire again. And when it comes to collecting 10 bear asses, here we have the native Drakehounds and Buzzards.
Bear asses, that's a fucking New World joke, I'm pretty sure.
Now, while Noxus and Demacia are the main rivals here, both of them are also constantly repelling raids from the north.
Okay, hold on, really quick. What do you call it? I want to look this up really quick. Was it Black Rose? I want to see who's a part of this exactly. Ooh, LeBlanc, dude. This is badass. A secret organization, primarily stationed in Noxus, or in primarily stationed in Noxus. What? Secretive cabal led by the Noxian aristocracy. Many of their opulent designs feature masks so that they can partially conceal their identities, even from each other. Trust no one. Okay, so these Noxians we see with like those half masks, those opera-looking masks. I guess these perhaps are Black Rose members. Wonder if Jin is one. He's not listed here, actually. Remnants of an order that had existed far longer than Noxus itself. Initiates of the Black Rose have schemed from the shadows for centuries, guiding the throne of Noxus for more than 1,000 years, orchestrating many of the Empire's most ambitious campaigns. So they definitely work for the Empire. Though they do not often learn the origins of their matron, LeBlanc. Why does it say matron? Because she's their matron, I guess. Many have uncovered legends of a pale sorceress who aided the broken Noxy barbarian tribes in their struggle against the infamous Iron Revenant. The Black Rose exists now to further the clandestine interests of those who can wield the magic hidden within the immortal bastion, with its rank and file composed of mundane nobles, drawn to rumors of miracles, kept in thrall and ruthlessly exploited. Even the most powerful military commander could only ever serve the cult's true masters as they fight one another for influence in games of intrigue and conquest, both in the Noxian capital and beyond its borders. Wow. God, everything about Noxian just seems brutal as fuck. So champions of the Black Rose include LeBlanc, Vlad, Elise, and Cassiopeia. Wow, that is sick, because these are all pretty fucking evil looking people. You know, I never really looked at LeBlanc as very evil looking, but in this picture actually paints a lot better. She definitely looks kind of, I guess I won't say vampiric, because, you know, that's obviously Vlad's deal. That's his thing. But yeah, Elise is obviously pretty fucking dark and horrifying, and Cassiopeia similarly so. Other related champions, Darius had dealings with its members in the past. Part of the Triferics, don't know what that is. Ez was noticed by Black Rose members when he was in Noxus. Echo fought some of them. Katarina is Cass's sister. Okay. Mord was betrayed by LeBlanc. Interesting. Pike murdered the crew from a Black Rose shipment. Riven's blade was enchanted by LeBlanc. Oh my god, man, there's so much story here, actually. Rek'Sai interfered a Black Rose's shipment. Interfered, okay. Rel was experimented on by the Black Rose and escaped their academy. Her mother is a member of the Black Rose. Wow. Renekton was accidentally freed by Cass during her mission in Shurima. Sion was resurrected by the help of the Black Rose and its members. Okay. That explains that a little bit more. Sivir was hired and then later backstabbed by Cassiopeia. Swain obtained Sion from the Black Rose, currently planning on taking down the organization. He obtained Sion. Is Sion like a fucking like a fucking, just like a minion, like a big minion, you know? Like, does he just follow orders or something? He doesn't think for himself. So Swain is trying to take out the Black Rose. Samira's handler, Captain Indari, is working for the Black Rose, tasked her with tracking down Rel. Oh shit. I didn't know that. Vigar was inside Mordekaiser's inner circle alongside LeBlanc and knew about her. What? Was inside. Okay. Was inside, I'm guessing, before he got banished. And LeBlanc was in there too, but LeBlanc, remember, backstabbed Mord. Betrayed. Xerath was accidentally freed by Cass. Okay, so Cass accidentally freed Xerath and Renekton. Alright, that's badass. What was the only other thing I wanted to look up real quick was Mord. A brutal warlord from a foregone epic who uses his necromantic sorcery to bind souls into an eternity of servitude. Few now remain who remember his earlier conquests or know the true extent of his powers, but there are some ancient souls that do, and they fear the day when he may return to claim dominion over both the living and dead. The Iron Revenant, I want to know what that means. He built the Immortal Bastion, a fortress which the capital of Noxus is built around. Given San Uzal, Mordekaiser when he was human. Faith. So given... Oh, his name was Sanuzal when he was human. Given Sanuzal's faith in the Hall of Bones, it's safe to say his culture did not have a kindred myth, which would explain why he was never claimed by them. That's interesting. I'm guessing that's maybe like an afterlife kind of thing. Mordekaiser tortured Vigar, who would later mimic him after his downfall. That's funny. LeBlanc, another from his inner circle, was instrumental to his downfall. She's preparing to banish him when he returns to the Immortal Bastion for herself. So is he not banished or is he banished? Rel is LeBlanc's plan to defeat Mordekaiser when he returns. However, Rel likely does not have knowledge of Mordekaiser. Her connection to the Iron Revenant was kept secret during production to enforce this speculation. Holy shit, this is deep. Currently, Mordekaiser has not given attention to Rel yet either. Rel could defeat Mordekaiser's physical metal form, since he's not aware of her or her power, but he could just retreat to the Death Realm to reform, likely without a metal armor. This is fucking sick. Okay, so LeBlanc, if I remember from the last page, LeBlanc or someone in the Black Rose, right? They said they captured or experimented on Rel or something like that. The reason being was because they were trying to turn her into a weapon that can destroy Mordekaiser. Which makes sense because like that's why Rel can like literally fucking bend metal. She can like just like control metal freely. So clearly that was why they gave her that power or whatever, or engineered that power for her, because, you know, Mordekaiser is made of metal. He is the Iron Revenant. But I think I also read that Rel escaped or something, right? From like captivity. So like she's not necessarily in on this or like interested. Although it did say, I think Rel's mom is part of, Rel's mom is part of the Black Rose. So the Black Rose basically took, I'm guessing, a child member of the Black Rose, and chose her to turn into this weapon, but clearly Rel was not about it and she escaped. That's fucking sick. Janook, I don't know who Janook is. Okay, that guy, I guess, tasked Ezreal to obtain the elixir of Uloa, with which he would be able to resurrect Mordekaiser. However, Ezreal intentionally gave him a fake vial and left Janook while stealing an old Ocnun bell. Okay, what the fuck does this have to do with Mordekaiser? While it's not directly confirmed, it's been implied Mordekaiser may have a certain level of awareness about Viego's actions and is waiting to benefit from them once he decides to return. It's been confirmed if they were to directly fight, Mordekaiser would likely win. I like how it's been confirmed that he would likely win. That's not exactly confirmation, but okay. Mordekaiser, Master of Metal, building a strength in the Shadow Isles until he can lay waste to Noxus or reclaim the Immortal Bastion. Wait, what? Relations. This is just like the old Mordekaiser art, though. So is this like, like outdated lore? Or is that actually relevant? I don't know.
So now, let's have a look at the Freljord. Just like pretty much any region on Runeterra, Freljord has a long history. But for the purpose of this video, just know that the maddening old gods known as the Watchers of the Void, who want to devour the entire reality only because it keeps waking them up, once tried to breach into reality here. They almost succeeded because they tricked the Ice Witch Lysandra into helping them. Fortunately, she realized how wrong she was, and she managed to freeze half of the kingdom with the Watchers still beneath them. So
wow.
These days, the Ice Witch is the only person holding back the end of reality by keeping the Watchers frozen.
What? Dude, that is so badass. I feel like they make Lysandra seem like an evil, like a bad person, like a bad guy. That's fucking sick, dude. Dude, I feel like I knew about this for a few champions. Like I knew how that they were actually like larger than life and like almost too big for the League of Legends, you know what I mean? Like they don't belong there, like they're near gods. But I didn't realize that, like, I don't know, I'm starting to get the feeling more now that, like, most, if not all, champions are, like, have this fucking insanely, like, sick backstory where they're, like, actually much more powerful or, like, influential than, like, I originally thought in the world. And I'm all here for it, dude. This is fucking cool.
So at some point in the future, you bet one of these woken up frozen watchers is gonna be a raid boss.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
when it comes
dude.
to the NPCs,
Let's go. Fucking, oh my god, dude, so sick. I love how, like, this guy is, like, you can, I mean, he already said it in the beginning of the video, but it's like, clearly he's an MMO fan, he's played MMOs, he knows what to expect, he knows what he wants, and he also knows League lore really well, and he's just, like, imagining like everything that I guess we're all imagining, you know, like, we're just, like, all these things we want. I hope, like, Riot, like, watches this, because it's, like, at least for me, like, I can say this guy's, like, relating to me so well as far as, like, you know, the things that I would want out of this League MMO. Like, that, when I hear that story about those, like, frozen watchers, you know, like, that's exactly what I think too. It's like, that sounds like the end, that could be like the end raid of a whole expansion, you know what I mean? Like, that's like the premise is that, like, the gods are awakening, you know, there's a whole raid schedule over a year or two, and at the end, you know, you fucking fight one of them. Like, let's fucking go, dude.
this is where things get diverse. First of all, remember that the Freljord is brutally cruel. Everything is frozen, and survival is everything. So the first enemy here would be the wildlife. From Rhymefangs to Yetis to Druvasks to Elnuks to Mammoths to the worst of them all, Poros. Next we are going to fight the Freljordians themselves. There are three main tribes here.
Yeah.
The Avarosans, who are quite peaceful, the Winter's Claw, who are quite brutal, and the Frostguard, Lyssandra's followers who hold back the Watchers. And let me tell you, these guys have some badass armor.
Yeah, let me be a Frostguard, dude.
Sign, which are shamans who worship the Volibear.
Yeah, see, Volibear's like literally a god.
Slowly turns his worshippers into twisted animalistic monstrosities.
And it's like, obviously he doesn't really belong there with, like, fucking Teemo, like, on the League of Legends. It's like, it doesn't really seem quite right, but, like, yeah, I'm down with them making these people, like, fuck the League of Legends, dude. Just make them fit into, like, the world. I feel like the focus should be on, like, the MMO lore, not the original game's lore, you know, like, throw that shit out the window. I mean, at least, like, their connection to being the League. I'm probably way behind on this. It seems like they've abandoned that, like, way of writing lore a long time ago, but I don't know, maybe I just thought they still kind of, like, tried to weasel it in there somehow, but...
Which, yes, there are also the primal gods of Freljord.
Yeah, Ornn is also
Finally,
fucking badass.
we need to talk about the Iceborn. When the Watchers tried to arrive here, they tainted the ice around them. This special ice is called the True Ice. And it is so dangerous, you literally die if you touch it.
Okay.
However, the Watchers also tainted some people, giving them the ability to touch the ice.
Like
it
Braum?
is still extremely painful for them to...
Who's that? Wait, who's this? Someone holding, like, a true ice axe or something. Is this Ashe?
Ice weapon.
That would make sense. Maybe that's why
they can't survive it.
Ashe can shoot ice arrows.
Are known as the Iceborn. But people were not the only things that were tainted. There are also
That's what Iceborn means, huh?
Some of whom are also Iceborn. To be honest, these guys were made to have their own dungeon. But there are...
Wow, so a lot of these League champions are actually the Iceborn. Ashe is Iceborn, Trundle's Iceborn. Who else did he show? Was it just them? Did we miss anyone else?
People were not the only things that were tainted. There are also...
Wonder who else? Olaf, maybe?
Some of whom are also Iceborn. To be honest, these guys were made...
How does Udyr fit into this? I know he's Freljordian.
But there are also some animals that were twisted by the Watchers. And Lysandra is even twisting some beings herself to make them serve her. So overall, Freljord is gonna have a lot of cool warriors, shamans, and horrors.
Dude, God, Freljord's so fucking badass. It's gonna be like the coolest place. What did I want to go back to real quick? What was the what were these guys called again?
Frostguard. Followers who hold back the Watchers. And let me tell
I don't think they're gonna be like a ton of different factions like that you can like join and stuff, and you know, it might be a little bit more generic. Where like, yeah, you can't like roll as a Frost Guardian or like things like that. But if they do somehow go with that approach, if this is like a class or a faction, dude, like so far of everything named, dude, like I want to be fucking Frostguard, dude.
you,
Holy shit, I want to be Frostguard.
Badass armor.
I have a feeling that's not going to be the case,
tribes, there are also the Ursine, which are
Alright, where were we?
twisted
This is so badass, dude. Hold on, let me hear this
Freljord is gonna have
recap again.
herself that were to make them serve her. So overall, Freljord is gonna have a lot of cool warriors, shamans, and horrors.
Let's
so these
fucking
would be
go.
the 3 regions
I
on
love
the
the
main
fucking
continent. But this place is actually so big, it can easily make the base world of the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially since there are a bunch of smaller regions in between them. There is Nockmerge, full of witches, Argent Mountains with their dragons, Tokugo with void monsters, Dalamore Plains with him, and so much more.
I feel like
From here...
So he got this map from somewhere. He definitely didn't like draw this map, I don't believe anyway, you know? This is something he found somewhere. And he's talking about all these like void monsters, you know, the mountains, blah blah blah. But like, you can't really see it on the map. It all just looks like plain, you know, just green or brown. I bet whenever we see the game map for this game, whether it's on launch day or maybe before, there's going to be way more detail in here. You know what I mean? There's going to be more, you know, separation between like different regions and what they look like. You know, there'll be different biomes and stuff, I'm sure.
You can cleverly set up the expansions because of how well everything is interconnected. So now, let's have a look at the continent to the east called Ionia. Ionia has a very close connection to Noxus. You can only guess why. It's because Noxians once tried to conquer it all during an event simply called the Invasion of Ionia. This was a horrible war full of using children and...
Now, I will say, I did say I wanted to be Frostguard, but Ionia is gonna be fucking hard to resist as well. When you found me, I was Arrowfather, left to die by my own people, surrounded by enemies, doomed.
As soldiers because Noxians thought Ionians wouldn't fight back against children, and chemical weapons. Lots and lots of chemical weapons. Speaking
Zaunite
of which, remember
alchemists.
Singh from Arcane? He's the guy who chemically devastated Ionia. Eventually, Noxus kept their small controlled territories.
Evil motherfucker.
So the first quest here could be simply...
Damn, Piltover's fucking... Holy shit, someone help them out, dude. Fucking, they've got to be, like... There's no shot that Noxus... How do I say it? Noxus? There's no shot that Noxus is not heavily interested in this area, not only because it's just a little chunk they haven't got on the coast, but it connects to the southern continent right there. That's like a little fucking bay. You control Piltover, you control this fucking canal right here. Like, I'm sure this is a political, like, that's got to be politically relevant in Runeterra, no?
They kept their small controlled territories.
It would be on Earth, I'll tell you that much.
Here could be simply boarding a ship, sailing over, and exploring the place for the Noxian Empire. Now, when it comes to Ionia itself, the place gets mystical. Everything here is alive and connected to the spirit of nature. And I mean everything.
I just now realized this guy's kind of like operating under the assumption, at least for the premise of the video, that there will be 2 factions, you will be Demacian or Noxian. Because he's saying like, he's talking about all these things you'll be doing, like what you would be doing if you were one of those. Like he talked about fighting all those things in the Freljord, you know, and it's like, well, I don't know, what if you can roll as a Freljordian though, you know, like maybe you won't fight against Trundle and the trolls, maybe you can goddamn be a troll, you know what I mean? It'll be really interesting to see how they do this, because like, I mean, yeah, well, do you have to be a human? There's so many other races, like people are going to want to be, you know, people are going to want to be Yordles, at the very least, you know?
From the animals to the people to the buildings, everything is alive. So if
the buildings are alive,
nature, your house can twist and strangle you in your sleep. So you can only imagine how Mother Nature fought against Noxians. Usually a river came alive to drown them. That's why all the buildings here look like they were woven from wood. It's because they were.
Holy shit, that is so badass.
Magic, people let nature build their houses. It also means
What a
that sometimes your
great
host can
defense,
just
dude.
walk away. When it comes to the NPCs here, obviously there is gonna be a lot of nature spirits.
Dude,
and a lot more
Ionia
of
is so
simply
fucking
mystical
cool.
animals. From giant flying tigers to the never-ending story. But be ready to also face
Oh my
Ionians, Blade Masters, Shadow Cultists, Murderers, and Ninjas. Both good, bad, and
That
indie.
Zed.
But finally, there is also one more enemy that we could face. The furries. That's right, this
What?
race is known as Demacia. They are
Oh,
half
no.
humans and half magical
Oh
animals.
no.
And yes, canonically, the species was born in exactly the way you are thinking. But to be fair, the Demacia are quite cool.
Wait,
and
for
they
real?
Are definitely
No,
gonna be
Ryan, you
playable.
can't do that, dude. You can't do that, bro. Oh my god, they need to change that. Dude. Are you fucking serious? There's no way. There's no way, dude. Holy shit, Ryan, why? Man, how is this gonna work, dude? Is there gonna be like they can't remove Ari. Ari is supposed to be like a succubus, right? So it's okay if they have one like supremely over the top sexy furry. You know what? Fine. There can be one. But I didn't know there was an entire fucking race of furries, and the whole race has an origin of people fucking animals. That's how it happened. Biology, not even fantasy, not even like magic or something. Just fucking pure reproductive biology is how it happened. Jesus fucking Christ, Riot. My goodness, man. Who took the day off on the day fucking this part of the lore was due, man? Who procrastinated? Yeah, how does this race work? Is it like, are they all fucking different animal people combos or something, dude? Like,
Race.
oh my god.
Just like Yordles, who also like Ionia a lot. Lastly, after Noxians ravaged Mother Nature, demons started occupying all the places filled with misery and doubt. So that's gonna be a nice bonus enemy.
Wait,
So yes, the exploration of Ionia and the raid on the Shadow...
I'm sorry, how do the demons tie in here?
After Noxians ravaged Mother Nature, demons started occupying all the places filled with misery and doubt.
So Noxus did have some success, I guess, destroying parts of the island. And where Mother Nature lost and was destroyed there, demons took root. That's pretty cool.
So that's gonna be a nice bonus enemy.
Chimera
The
ants.
exploration of Ionia and the raid on the Shadow Order could be...
Wait, that's not how it is that how it happened in Hunter x Hunter? Was it just fucking? No. Wasn't it like, no, there was like an ant that had to like fucking eat. Yeah, had to eat other people, right? And it would make chimera ants.
Really cool first expansion. But it's definitely not Riot's only option, because we can also go south to Piltover and Zaun. These are the ones people will know about. Simply
I haven't been
because
reading these things on the right. I probably should. Dual city-states that control the major trade routes between Valoran and Shurima, home both to visionary inventors and their wealthy patrons. The divide between social classes is becoming more dangerous. So yeah, if you watched Arcane, obviously you'll know about this. I didn't really realize that Zaun was actually recognized kind of as its own city. Like it says dual city-states, like it's its own city-state. So I kind of just figured it was like the slums or ghetto of Piltover, you know? But like there was sort of just like unofficial powers that claimed, you know, regions of the city, but Piltover, you know, still acted like they owned the whole thing. But maybe that's not the case.
this is where Arcane took place.
Right.
Piltover and Zaun are two massive cities located one above the other.
Oh man, this
they
so
are
looks
so-
so cool, dude.
Massive, they could easily be turned into their own playable zones. They are
For
both
sure.
focusing on futuristic technology powered up by magic of the Hextech gemstones. Using this magic, they can power up
Did you watch
from guns,
Arcane, Third Blood?
dead limbs to vehicles. Visually, it is simply futuristic Victorian era. And unfortunately, there wouldn't be much of enemy variety. We would likely fight the rich houses of Piltover and their deadly assassins, with
There's gonna be a lot of
occasional thief
humans.
on the streets, corrupt wardens, and the occasional rogue steam golem. But things get a bit more interesting in the undercity known as Zaun. Zaun is the dirty underbelly covered in thick toxic smoke. Because the majority of people are poor here, they developed a cheaper alternative to Hextech called Chemtech. This artificial green stuff can power up cheaper limb replacements, as well as highly unstable weaponry. Zaun is also controlled by the Chem Barons, which are obviously gonna be the main enemy here. But on the side, we may also meet some chemical mutants, unstable constructs, as well as some mass murderers and people who hunt down mass murderers. And funnily enough, at the very bottom of Zaun itself, there are the hidden ruins of an ancient city full of traps. That
What?
is obviously gonna be a cool dungeon.
What? Underneath Zaun? Damn, I wonder if that was... I feel like if this is the case, they had to have mentioned that, or there had to be like an Easter egg or something in Arcane alluding to this, right? There's a... What do you say? The ruins of an ancient city or something underneath Zaun? God, how many layers is there, dude? There's fucking an ancient city, and then Zaun on top of that, and then Piltover on top of that.
So yes, there is not
That's so cool. Ezreal seems like a cool character in the universe. He's pretty like... Seems to be one of the only like... kind of actually independent, like, does his own thing. Like, he has interactions with a lot of people, but like, he's just been solo
much more that I can add here.
the whole story.
Piltover and Zaun were simply explored in Arcane. So if you like the series, you are gonna like this place. From here, we can travel further south.
Okay, this is where we get real interesting.
Shurima used to be a massive empire that ruled the world. But after the emperor got betrayed by his...
Well, much like real life history, it's like Egypt at one point was like one of the, you know, biggest empires in the world.
best friend, the entire empire collapsed.
Wow, this looks so cool. That big ass floating disc. Which real life was like this?
A massive empire that ruled the world. But after the emperor got betrayed by his best friend, the entire empire collapsed. This region is a massive desert with the occasional city near a river. In the center of the region there is the Sun Disk, a colossal piece of star metal that has the power to reflect celestial magic. The Shurimans use this celestial magic to turn their best soldiers into the Ascended, also known as the Golden God Warriors. However,
What?
these God Warriors wouldn't make a great enemy here.
Wow, Renekton just looks so fucking cool, dude. My god. I feel like he's like the best. He's like the best example, in my opinion. I love the way, at least like this way he's drawn, of like a, you know, big fucking Giga Chad, like crocodile or like reptile character. You know, this has been done before, like in Batman, there's like the big fucking crocodile and like other shit. But yeah, I think Renekton like looks cooler than all of them, dude.
After the Emperor had died, the Ascended started fighting for leadership. And slowly, after learning how to use blood magic to gain the edge, they morphed their own
Blood magic. Who else used blood magic? That was like the Black Rose, right? Wonder if they just learned it independently, if that's connected.
bodies and became the Darkin. Twisted, blood-frenzied monsters that would certainly make really cool raid bosses. Besides this ancient evil, Shurima
Wow.
is also full of its own animals,
This art is sick.
raiders, dune scavengers,
Oh, the raiders.
and
Oh,
on top
man.
of all of that,
Dude, these guys all look so
creatures.
cool.
That's because to the south, there used to be a kingdom known as Ikathia that wanted to destroy the Shuriman Empire. So, they asked the Watchers for help. You can imagine how that went. The
Wow.
Watchers sent through some void beasts that consumed
Wait, so the Watchers, those are the Void. I think I missed that in the Freljord. We might need to back it up. I'll go back at the end of this or something, but is he talking about the same Watchers that are frozen up in the north? They asked for their help, so they're connected to the Void, I guess? Anyway.
You can imagine how that went. The Watchers sent through some void beasts that consumed Ikathia and polluted Shurima to this day. To fight back the void, Shurima does have a lot of hidden tombs around with hidden god warrior weapons. Not to mention that Shurima also has a circle of time mages who are trying to freeze the void in time.
So there was some void up in Valorant too, though. I remember like somewhere in the middle there he mentioned like he showed Vel'Koz. Like I don't know if him specifically is up there, but he said something about there being some void up there. So it's definitely not only in Shurima, and if it is the same Watchers and they're connected up in Freljord under the ice, that's also void. So seems to be some void influence everywhere, but it does seem like it's maybe worse than anywhere else down here in Shurima because like, you know, an entire fucking nation decided to like fucking invite them in, so
now, as I mentioned near the beginning of the video, even if Shurima becomes an expansion, they can still easily make Shurimans a playable race because they are already connected to Noxus. As you can see, of course, Noxians already conquered part of Shurima, so some Shurimans are fighting for Noxus. Also, as a cool fact for those of you who liked Arcane, Hex Crystals are harvested in Shurima. That's why a Shuriman expansion would be a great follow-up to Piltover and Zaun. And again, that's why Riot can easily turn only the northern continent into the base world. Anyway, going west from Shurima, we arrive at Mount
He's speaking
Targon.
facts!
This place is incredibly unique. First of all,
Targon. Okay, I think this is like Diana and Leona, I'm hoping. God, look at this place, dude.
Natural. It was literally pulled up from the ground by celestial gods.
Also, as far as expansions go or other worlds, they can probably just do like anything they fucking want with like the void, I'm guessing. Like, if it's a place you can go to, I'm assuming, I don't know if it has to be like a mirrored real world or something, or if it's just a whole other place entirely. Like, they can fucking make hella void maps, if you will, or whatever you call it.
And that's because this place serves as a portal to the celestial realm, also known as Targon Prime.
Okay, yeah, and if there's other realms, you know, you can go there. That's like, it's kind of like I was saying earlier about Warcraft with like, yeah, you start off on Azeroth, but it's like Draenor already existed, so you know in the future you can go to Draenor. Like, yeah, we start off, even if they wanted to, in theory, start off with all the continents open. There's still existing places in the lore that you can go to. There's the Void, there's the Celestial Realm, maybe other realms, you know. And I don't know, maybe if they don't want to make it that easy to get to, like, they might want to make it a little bit more special. Like, this is a place you only get to go to once, and it's like this insanely crazy place, you know. I don't know, but, you know, the magic falls away a little bit if, like, everyone in the whole world is, like, running around in a new plane. You know, seems a little special, but anyway, I digress.
This mountain was pulled up, it also has some unique features. For example, you may find frozen lakes frozen horizontally on the mountain. And the very peak of the mountain is special too. Should a mortal reach the peak despite the brutal climate and the deadly wildlife, either they die from exhaustion, or the celestial gods deem them worthy and they become an ascended aspect.
Is that Pantheon?
There is aspect of war, aspect of the sun, aspect of the moon, aspect of the twilight, aspect...
Whoa.
Celestial gods deem them worthy and they become...
So is he the aspect of war?
There is...
Holy shit, I did not know that. This is cool. Wait, I want to hear this one more time. Is this like some pilgrimage of like fucking...
frozen lakes
proving yourself to these celestial gods?
And the very peak of the mountain is special too. Should a mortal reach the peak despite the brutal climate and the deadly wildlife, either they die from exhaustion, or the celestial gods deem them worthy and they become an ascended aspect. There is
so any mortal just becomes an ascendant aspect. I mean, I'm sure it's only a few have done it, but wow.
Aspect of war, aspect
Pantheon, aspect of war. Leona, aspect of
the sun, aspect of the moon.
That's Diana.
Aspect of the twilight.
That's Zoe. That's really cool. I did not know. I don't really know anything about Zoe. I guess she's apparently well, she said mortal, not human. I was gonna say she always looks kind of like a little like fairy or something, you know, or like a goddamn elf even or something maybe. Which I guess maybe she could be, but maybe she's just human. But she like, I guess she doesn't float. She just kind of skips around.
Aspect of the guardian.
Oh, Tarek is one too. How many was that? Guardian, Twilight, Sun, Moon, War. 5. Wow.
And so on. Simply said, after people reach the peak, they
Okay, these people haven't reached the peak though, right? Have they? This is like a kind of a random group. Is that Braum? We have Panth in front, who we know reached the peak. He's the aspect of war. We have Lee Sin, Ahri, Braum, and Ashe.
become some of the strongest beings on the entire planet. So of
That's
course,
fucking
the mountain
badass.
is full of people who worship the celestial demigods. And I speculate this is where we could get a lot of cool armor sets. There are the Solari, who are devoted to the aspect of the sun.
Yeah, I wonder why these
And
people are
there
like
the
opposing each other
rivals
though, the
to
sun and
Lunari,
moon.
who are devoted to the aspect of the moon. But also, the tribe I assume will become a playable class, the Warriors of Rakor. Of course,
This guy's making a lot of assumptions like, I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong. Maybe he knows more than I do, but it's just like, you know, I don't know, is a race gonna be a class? Or will you pick like, hey, what region are you from? And then from there you can pick, you know, like in World of Warcraft, for instance, right? Like you can pick your race, but it doesn't determine your abilities necessarily. Like you can pick a bunch of different classes tied to that race. He's kind of making it seem like it's like, yeah, you're gonna pick a racial or a background or something, right? Or a nation. And it's kind of like, maybe he's not, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, he's giving me that vibe. But yeah, that I mean, I don't know, it could be that way though. It could be, you know, you kind of have to do the playstyle sort of tied to like your background or whatever, which I wouldn't hate anyway. I mean, they could totally do that. That'd be cool. It'd be cool way to do the different classes, you know, it's like a Shurima warrior is a class, you know, or something like that. I think that's kind of like what he's thinking, which they don't have to do it that way. They could be like, you could pick a Shuriman, and then Shuriman could be, you know, they could just create generic classes, which might seem weird in League, but yeah, they could do like, you know, Hunter, Warrior, fucking blah, 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 Mage, etc., etc. But yeah, maybe they won't do it that way, because that would feel a little bit out of place. Maybe that's maybe why he thinks the classes in the game play, the play styles will be kind of tied to like your background, which the more I think about it and talk about it, that actually, if they do it right and still give you plenty of options, I think that could actually be sick as fuck. And then it'd be kind of cool because it's like when you need something in particular, it's like you don't necessarily need that class. Like it's not like, oh, we need a tank. It's like, damn, we need a fucking Shuriman, dude. You know what I mean? That, like, how cool would that be? Like, we need one of those fucking tough-skinned fucking desert fucking Shuriman motherfuckers, you know? It's like you need that, like, specifically that person from that background. Like, that'd actually be really cool. I feel like that would really give you a good sense of identity when you're picking your character.
besides just humans, Targon also has all sorts of furry Vastaya. Near the bottom of the mountain you may notice that the mountain is alive, but also there are Stellarcorns, a variety of mind-bending creatures, and loads of dragons. Speaking of which, remember that this place is linked to the Celestial Realm. So this is where we may also meet the star-forging Celestial Dragon, Aurelian Soul, as well as...
He also showed Aurelian Soul in Ionia, though, I think.
Other celestial beings. A lot of these would make for interesting bosses. In fact, the ascension of Mount Targon would be a really cool raid. Next,
oh yeah, this guy just has it all figured out in his head. I love it too. Like, that's how I am too. I just like, I can just fucking, I've done this before, I feel like in my head with other, not really League, but other things like, you know, I don't fucking know. Like, I even like Lord of the Rings, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just so much potential for like, if you use like World of Warcraft, you know, like at its peak for like the model of like, and just apply that to like any big fantasy, like fleshed out universe, you know? I guess that's also like the great thing about this video, why he did this, because it's like, dude, it's like we don't have to wait for this new MMO, like Lost Ark, New World, you know, blah, 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 like these new IPs to like learn about the world and figure all this shit out. It's like, dude, luckily for us, like we can already get hype and learn about all this shit well before this fucking game's even coming out, you know? If this game's probably years out, I'm assuming, like they haven't talked about it much. I don't think, but
where people are mastering the elemental
pretty
magic.
Awesome.
They are using it for everything.
I hope Riot fucking stays on top of their shit, dude. Like, I feel like Blizzard was like had the momentum that Riot has right now, you know, they definitely had that in the past where they were just like killing it and just putting out nothing but great shit. Hopefully they can learn, you know, from the mistakes of people who came before them and maintain this excellence for a long time, you know, for a much longer time anyway.
Fishing, smithing, walking.
I'm sorry, where are we?
Using it. This is a special place where people are mastering the element.
I need to be looking at these like
not
just the side panel, but
people are mastering the elemental.
Yeah, I don't like how he splits them up because I want to look at this. I've been not looking at these really because there's on the screen for like 1 second only. Malphite, Nico, Rengar, Zyra, Nidalee is here. Cool. Perilous Eastern Jungle.
Place where people are mastering the elemental magic.
Elemental magic. Okay, he listed up here again too. That's what I should be looking at. Magical autocracy. Attitude toward magic. Control. A level of technology unknown. Alchemical. General environment. Tropical rainforest. Very cool. I feel like, God, I want to go back and look at all those.
Everything. Fishing,
contextual,
smithing, walking,
blurbs.
And this place is definitely gonna be saved for an expansion. Basically, remember when Icathian asked the Watchers for help? And then that happened? Ishtal was their neighbor, and after they saw the Void devour an entire kingdom, they believed the Void would soon devour the entire world. So, using their elemental magic, Ishtal built massive walls of plants around their entire region, isolating themselves from the rest of the world. For 3,500 years, Ishtal stayed isolated, believing that the world outside of their walls was devoured by the Void. But now, very recently, some mages found out that the world outside is completely fine. So now the Ishtali mages are slowly revealing themselves. To be honest, Ishtal is the most underdeveloped region in Runeterra. We know the region has a lot of hunting Vastaya, deadly plants and some elemental dragons.
You keep saying Vastaya, is that the name for like beast humanoids or whatever? Like furries? Like is Rengar fall in the furry category too? I feel like he's just a talking animal. He's not really like a part human, but I don't know.
But most of the region is
also, that dragon looks sick.
So at least here, Riot will have the freedom to try something new. But now we leave the main continent to visit the last two regions. First of all, there is Bilgewater. If you like pirate adventures, this is gonna be your place. This is where we are going to explore
Bilgewater is very cool looking.
Dens, even some local temples worshipping the god of motion, Nagake Boros. Here we are going to find.
Wait, did we get a little fucking blurb here, or did he not do it?
The last two regions.
So I feel like he's not doing
there is Bilgewater.
Side panel on the right, you know, for all of them.
This is gonna be your
and like
place.
Showing you like the
we are going to explore inns and gambling dens, even some local temples worshipping the god of motion, Nagake Boros. Here we are going to fight pirates and sea monsters, sea witches, sea maybe some demons, and possibly we'll side with Sarah Fortune to fight the king of the pirates, Gangplank. But there's a lot more here. Last year, Riot released their RPG, which was set in Bilgewater. So not only can we already explore this place in detail, but it even has a monster journal. And at a quick glance, you can already see some really cool bosses too. However, this place is also linked to the last place I want to show you today, the Shadow Isles. See, every year the horrors of the Shadow Isles lurk out, and Bilgewater just happens to be the closest place. So every year, Bilgewater is fighting the undead. Once upon a time, the Shadow Isles used to be the Blessed Isles, a rich place full of advanced magic. Long story short, there was a young asshole king who wanted to revive his dead queen. And in the process, he accidentally released dark necromantic magic. This magic destroyed the island
how this all happened?
And made it home for undeath.
This is a cutscene in the beginning of the Ruined King, or whatever, like the RPG is talking about. But I didn't really, I guess, understand what I was looking at. I could see that, like, this is how Viega was created, but I didn't realize this was, like, I didn't realize this was the Shadow Isles, you know what I mean? Like, before he did this, I thought the Shadow Isles were already a thing, and like, you know, he just fucked up and then got wrapped up in Shadow Isle shit, but I didn't realize he's the fucking genesis of this whole thing. That's kind of wild.
This event is called the Ruination, and because the RPG is called the Ruined King, it may not be a surprise to you that you also get to explore the Shadow Isles there. And there they have anything you can imagine. Undead horrors creeping everywhere. And should we ever venture into these islands, I have no idea whom we're going to fight. The Ruined King who caused all of this is banished elsewhere. Thresh, who siphoned his
banished where? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Magic after he was banished also left the Isles. And even Hecarim, the most brutal soldier of them all, is currently around Demacia. So the Shadow Isles don't currently have a main baddie. So this is where Riot push forward some of the side characters. Now, even though these have all been the regions that are currently set up on...
I mean, they might be elsewhere right now, but like... They can probably return someone easily, right? At least one of them. I mean, like, I'm assuming the Ruined King himself, Viego, still claims the Shadow Isles for himself, so like, if he needed to be there, he would be there.
Runeterra. Riot has already confirmed that there is a new...
Oh wait, no, they said it was banished, right?
...to the east. Currently, it is planned...
Oh shit, hold up, what?
New that are currently set up on Runeterra. Riot has already confirmed that there is a new continent further to the east. Currently, it is planned to be revealed in the upcoming Ruination novel. And so far, we know that this new continent is where the Ruined King Viego is from. And this is also where he was banished at the end of his story. All we know about that place is that it is quite mystical. There are yet more dragons.
Wait, so sorry, this is where he was banished?
This is also where he was banished at the end of his story. All we know
about
the end
of the game?
Is quite mystical. There are yet more dragons here.
Maybe not, that was
in fact, Kamavor, which is the Ruined King's nation, has a lot of draconic armor. So should Riot run out of places to explore, don't worry, they can always make up more. But that's all I wanted to show you today. As someone who's been following the lore of...
To be honest, like... I mean, I guess you could do this on any map, although I feel like no one really does this. Is like... You know, that almost looks like... You could easily tell me that... Let me go to the map real quick. You could easily tell me that this is just the front... The one half of an entire globe. You know what I mean? Like, and I'd believe you. And so you can have a whole another map this size of more continent, you know what I mean? Like, I remember in World of Warcraft... Azeroth, you know, it's sort of like a little harder to imagine that way because it was sort of like two, you know, long dong-shaped fucking sausage-shaped continents going up and down like a fucking pause symbol or something. And it's like, you know, it kind of like they made them bend a little bit, so they like made it look more like it was like the whole globe. And I don't know, they tried to fit shit in between. But I think totally like, you know, they can easily just like, wouldn't mind like a page over or left or right, you know, they always try to fit it all in one big map, but it's like, you know, we're on a planet, right? Presumably, like, make it a fucking planet. I mean, you gotta turn it around to fucking see the other side of the globe, you know, and add more, just plenty of shit over there. You can add a ton of stuff, you know, and obviously, as they're developing all that shit, they'll be releasing champions for League of Legends, you know, the main game. From these new areas and all that shit, so yeah. This is fucking awesome, dude.
But that's all I wanted to show you today. As someone who's been following the lore of League of Legends from the very beginning, I can tell you, I'm very confident the setting of Riot's MMO is gonna be great. Their incredible writers have been preparing the world for years now.
Yeah, this is true.
It's time to harvest the fruit. If you like this video, let me know in the comments below.
I like
because right now I still have 3 more topics that I could talk about in regards to the MMO. I especially want to talk about the potential raid bosses we can face, and the potential classes we could play. And as someone who has collected an unholy amount of transmog, I would love to show you all the cool armor sets this universe has. But that's it for this video.
I'm so with that shit, dude.
See you in 6 to 8 years when the MMO gets released.
Oh no.